and it goes away. But enough people have come to me with, Billy, my mirror got clipped, I'm tired of it. I feel like we have to study that. So those are my two committee referrals. Under Mayor's Minute, I have a request for money. I've never asked this council for money. But I am, and this goes back to tourism. Some of y'all may know this. I don't need the money tonight. I need a commitment. I discovered through research that the home at 1020 South Main Street is the home where the Virginia Tech fight song was written 100 years ago, okay? It was adopted in December of 1919. I know this is fact. I've got the house located. I'm in the process myself of applying to the state for a historical marker. I have no connection to Tech. No one in my family went to Tech, but I know that Virginia Tech is big here, and a lot of folks go down 460 going to Blacksburg, and the Virginia tourism lady said, you know, she was just euphoric about it. She said, Billy, you don't understand. If you could get signs on 460 directing people to that site, they'll come in and take pictures. They'll come and visit downtown, and the owner of the property is expressed interest in converting the house with maybe some grant funds, which are available, into some sort of a hokey inn or something. So all I'm asking tonight, for me to apply and for the marker to be considered, we have to have a commitment of $1,700. That if the historical marker is approved, I'm asking the town to commit to spending that $1,700 for the marker.
I'll tell you right now, I'll make a motion, because it includes the post as well. The post is $175.
Yep.
So it brings it up to $1,945.
Counting pennies on me. I love it.
So I move to approve of up to $2,000 for historic marker.
Thank you, Mr. Nash. Your second to that.
Use money.
I'm gonna give the second to the hokey amongst us. Is there any further discussion?
And hopefully we can get the property cleaned up too, maybe.
That's been discussed as well. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. That is all I had on Mayor's Minutes that I can remember. At this time, this is the second opportunity for those in the audience who want to ask a question, to address council. Please come to the podium. I see Mr. Tom Taylor of South Harris Street.
That's right. Y'all spoke about this income for weatherization. Is this for fiscal year 19? What year is this?
We're in fiscal year 20.
You're good now.
That started July 1st.
No, I'm not talking about that, because I had conflict of interest. One year, one moment, I wasn't qualified. 5 days later, you qualified. So I just want to know what year is your fiscal year is.
The numbers change a little bit each year, but we're now
But where we at right now?
the year that started July 1st.
The number that he just the
1920.
46,000, 32,000, and 54,000.
That's this current year, yes.
Your fiscal year 2000.
Correct.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Thank you. Anyone else tonight who'd like to speak? I see Ms. Janet Bonnell, and then we'll have William Clark. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Good to see y'all. And I even have written down to first say, I love coming to the Blackstone Town Council. I love seeing local government in action. I grew up going with my daddy from the time I could be quiet, if you can believe that, and listen appropriately. So I've been going to town council meetings my entire life. And regardless of what goes on, you respect your government. And it's just, I always enjoy coming. I mean, I just do. No matter what happens, I do. So I'm Janet Bonnell. I live here in Blackstone on Lunenburg Avenue, and I'm the vice chairman for I'm one of two vice chairman for the Harris Memorial Armory Committee. I would like to speak to comments made earlier. I will try to keep this as brief as possible, but I do have some notes that I wrote. Mr. Johnson said that we made the statement that this would be done with very little or no help. We did say we wanted to do it with as little cost to the town as possible. You're welcome to review those minutes from 4.5 years ago if you like. I think we have reviewed them before in the past. If you review the resolution written in December of 2014, of which I have a copy, you will clearly see that it indicates that the town is to research grants and processes. So it was apparent from the beginning that the town would be actively involved in helping generate financing, grant matches, etc. Mr. Johnson stated erroneously that we said we would do this with very little or no help and we should honor it. We did not say that, but in the same spirit of that statement council should honor the resolution from the prior council. Just because you're a new council does not negate the promises made or the amount of time our group has invested in that building. Pardon me. I special order my pen, so I'm gonna pick it up. Just, we have invested a huge amount of time and effort into that group. We have made it usable. Mr. Van Orbeck, Philip, has stated on several occasions we can do this in stages. So why is our group being criticized all the time for wanting to use dollars when it's all kind of been said that we can do this? I'm all about a grant, of course, and then town adding us as needed, and then town adding as needed. A pool is a great idea. It would benefit me because I only use the country club for swimming. I don't play golf. I can't golf. It is not attractive when I do. So I'm all about a community pool. But there is no grant money for a pool and community center. So the cost to the town rises exponentially to around $5 to $5.5 million. There are no grants for that. There are grants for the armory. We just need to apply for the grants. We seem to not be consistent about that. I would love to help council or whoever is in charge of grant writing to be involved in that. I'm a very good writer. I know what I'm doing. I think it would be nice if we had someone from our team there. Mr. Miller has stated he is for the armory, and thank you. I do appreciate that. I also agree about needing policies. I mean, that kind of makes sense. So that is common sense logic that we need policies when we have buildings that are being used. But you are for a completely, but you've stated you don't want to use town dollars, but you are saying that you are completely for a town tax dollar funded community center with a pool with zero funding available. Town council approves the use of tax dollars for Wigglesworth. How is the armory different? We each have similar objectives.
That's one at a time. Ms. Bennell has the floor.
We each have similar objectives, which is to bring people into our community and to show off our community. The armory does that in a different way than Wigglesworth, but in clearly an effective way as well. All our kids need to come together. You know, Mr. Johnson, he made a good point. All our kids need to come together. And he indicated that the armory is not a way for that to happen. But we're working on getting the building safe for the children to come in and play ball. And he himself clearly said a few minutes ago that sports brings children and adults together. So why would it not do so there if the Youth Recreation League is using that building to practice? I think it's a beautiful opportunity. Also, the referendum, I still see no real need for it, and I have some prepared statements for it, if that's okay. We have a resolution. I would like to speak on.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
This is we're down the home stretch of the committee, of the meeting. Ms. Bennell has the floor, and we're gonna
I
go.
will be done in a minute. All right, so in October of 2014, council chambers was packed, standing room only, with people sitting in the floor, as I recall. I had to step over them to come make my comments. 95% of them were here to support the armory. Their passion prevailed that evening. I believe it was December 2014 when we adopted, again, my exhibit, the resolution, to renovate the armory and to work with our group to do so. There have been bumps in the road. Our group's focus has always been to find the proper use for this building, be engaged in fundraising, and get people into it. And I think when you look at the last 4 years, you can see that we have done so rather successfully. Nowhere in this resolution did the council indicate a desire to go back and revisit the discussion and work in a way to limit the progress our groups make against the gridlock of council at times. I am perplexed by why this council would want to return to that. When the resolution was created, the intent was clear: renovation. It says it throughout. A new council 4 years later should not be trying to pass this off again. We've been doing this for 20 years. We've had 20 years of passing this off from one council to the next. It's just time to stop. It's time to be responsible and honor the commitment made by the prior council. Our group has more than held up our end of the agreement as outlined in this resolution to save this building. And just this weekend, we had a valuable opportunity to showcase it. And you know what? We'll have other opportunities to showcase it as well. Your Armory group, because it's your group, whether some of you appreciate us or not, is one of the strongest groups of volunteers Blackstone, Virginia has ever seen. If you want to disagree with me about that, I'm happy to do that. If any of you would come by when we're on our work details, you may leave with a stronger appreciation of what this group of volunteers is accomplishing for your community that you represent. In 4 years, I cannot fathom the thousands of hours we have spent in this building, from researching how to create a use for it, to climbing into the nooks and crannies with DHCD and other preservation groups, to meeting with and working with local colleges and developing relationships with those who want to provide educational opportunities here, to cleaning windows, priming, painting. We've learned I'm not a good painter, by the way. Laying carpet, renovating bathrooms, all on a shoestring budget with donated materials which clearly prove there is support across the community. Yet month after month, here we are again in this room, right back at the beginning of a discussion that should have ended some time back. Some of you use the word referendum. You don't understand how painful that is to those of us who are sweating in that building, trying to get it ready for people to use, for our community to use. You have a strong group of volunteers. We don't get paid. We all work full-time jobs. We all have families. We all have obligations. We are here during your council meetings. We are there working on the building. We are fixing it up. We're making it something to be proud again for annual events. And now there's private interest in it being rented out for private events. I can't imagine it being much better than that. But for some reason, council still wants to say we need a referendum when you don't. The original resolution is clear. We have clearly shown that we have met our end of the original deal, and for council to change that plan is unfair and a little insulting. I ask that you take the referendum off the table. You can't even figure out how to word it. It's like a constant discussion. And can we just continue with grant funding searches and making the building usable? Because we've shown that people want to use it. That was the whole purpose of this group. I ask that you honor that commitment to us. We've proven in the past several months that there is interest in this building. And with a policy in place, which would be wise, we can create a strong, viable business model.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Bennell.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Bennell. I saw Mr. William Clark had his hand up next, I believe. Mr. Clark, you, we've made better time than I thought. I will encourage everyone to be as brief as possible.
I honestly didn't plan on speaking
Mr.
tonight.
Clark has the floor. Mr. William Clark has the floor.
I honestly didn't plan on speaking tonight, but Mr. Johnson kind of touched my heart a little bit on some of the things he said. He might not word them the way some of you want to hear it, but, you know, in my heart, I've lived in Blackstone all majority of my life. Our kids are more important than any dollar we can put out. And if we don't get some structure for them, I heard Mr. Wilson woke me up to a lot of things, Yvonne. I helped her with a couple of things at the center. If we don't put some money in toward them kids, we're gonna lose them. Then we break into houses, robbing them. With Fort Pickett coming, we wire them. So we got to put some structure in them kids. And I love the Armory. It don't need to be tore down. But we need a community center. I know us as grown people can get together, all that land over there, and build a community center and take care of this Armory. And y'all ain't want to hear this. It's gonna cost some money, taxpayers' money. we gotta stop sugarcoating it, Mayor. I mean, I'm serious, town of Blackstone. We gotta stop sugarcoating. It's gonna cost us money to compete. You just said we gotta keep our workers here. Our taxes gonna go up. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's gonna go up. I mean, I'm just being real with it. And you all know I travel a lot around, and I'm done with this. I go to a lot of shows. and my workers go when we go, and the first thing people ask us, where you from? Blackstone, Virginia. And then I know what I know I gotta do? I'm representing everybody in Blackstone.
Amen.
So I gotta be nice. I gotta be right. I saw a lot of stuff on social media the other week, made me ashamed to be from Blackstone.
Yes.
I'm being honest with you.
Yes.
We can do better. A lot better than that, folks. I mean, I know we can get together and this armory, whatever it did before, whatever happened before, it don't deserve to be tore down. It deserves to be respected, and we deserve to get us a nice community center. We got plenty of land, and I know we can work this thing out. I suggest, and I'm gonna leave,
right.
we get Mr. Johnson here, and y'all, these two groups get together, and y'all work on something we can put out in that field together. That'll make everybody happy. Because the Army deserves to be saved, and we need a community center.
Okay.
Because y'all do work hard, because I used to help you a lot. I ain't gonna take that from you at all. I mean, and I'll be there Wednesday. Y'all do work hard. And Mr. Johnson work hard. And he got a good point. Man, I live in a rough neighborhood, you know that. And them kids don't have it. My neighbor got a little pool. All of them got 3, 4 little pools.
That's right.
Inflatables, yeah.
See, a lot of y'all can go to the club up there. I ain't trying to throw the racial thing into it, but we just got to do right. We responsible for our kids, responsible for that armory, and responsible for getting the town a good community center. And I'm going on this last note. Now, I don't know how about you, Billy. You've been here long enough. Lonnie, Miss Jones, and Miss Thompson. We didn't have this problem when we were renting the center in the 70s.
That's right.
You just rent the armory, insurance cover. Richard Morrison, insurance cover. So I don't know if y'all need to go back and talk to some older council members to see what they was doing. But we didn't have all this you could rent the center, it was insured. Miss Janice, that ran Janice Nook, you could rent the armory with no problem about the insurance. It was great. It wasn't like this. If the hatred for that armory that bad now, we need to really think about our job. And that's the truth. Because it's everybody armory, because we got it. It's the town of Blackstone armory now. Y'all can take it any way you want. It's yours, 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 yours. And I'm done on that. Y'all have a good night.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Clark. Always a pleasure hearing from our local artist. He also paints with words. I saw a hand on the back row. Yes.
I think I gave Phil the paperwork.
I'm Sandra Jones, and I live at 511 Center Street, and I purchased a piece of property beside me. And, well, first, good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening. Good
I
evening.
purchased the piece of land beside me, and I want to put a double wide there for my granddaughter. When I leave here, I wanted her to have a home to where she don't have to pay rent, and I should know she's gonna have a home and she's gonna be okay. But I don't understand what the problem. We can't put double wides on in town. I live in a double wide. I've been in it for 24 years. I don't understand why I can't put one beside me for my granddaughter.
Well, I can tell you a little bit of the history. In 1990, when I first came back here from college, I remember there was a big debate in Blackstone about it was mobile homes at the time.
The term is a manufactured home, either a single or a double. Sarah and I have talked.
Yeah, we.
The property is zoned R2, and R2, which is probably 80% of the residential part of town, allows modular homes,
But not.
but not manufactured homes. And double wide is a manufactured home. It's not as expensive.
Is it allowed by use by special exception or absolutely banned? It's forbidden.
They're not provided for anywhere in our ordinance. Now, it just so happens, Mr. Miller came to see me, and he asked me what needed to be done. And I said she would have to request a rezoning. Now, it's not out of the question to rezone to R3, because we did, if you remember, right across the street for Gilbert Ruffin, that was rezoned to R3, and he had proposed to build some apartments there one time.
That's right.
So, in order to retain the standing that's in the zoning ordinance, it would need to be rezoned to R3. And I don't know if Mr. Miller was able to get with you and provide you
Yes,
that form
yes,
and all
yes,
that.
he was.
But the town's the one that doesn't provide manufactured housing, single or double, in any district except the R3 district, which really encompasses certain properties here and there, say, down Lester Street,
VFW Park.
Courthouse Road.
Right.
And places like that.
What's the difference in manufactured and?
And modular.
State Code of Virginia.
It's a building code, yeah, the building code is different, and no, it's not necessarily roof pitch, building code of Virginia describes a modular home as being of the same standard as a stick-built home. It's just built in two pieces and carried to the property and put there.
The same with the double wide, it's built in two pieces, but you made me put my, well, not made, but on a permanent foundation, there's no wheels on it. It's not mobile, it's no wheels on it.
If we were to rezone your property, would it be a situation where it's be spot zoning, or would we have to rezone a large chunk of that area to,
Here's what I'm proposing.
let's hear it.
I met with the Virginia Housing Development Authority, and they came to us and said, Mr. Van Orbeck, in certain neighborhoods in town, is there demand for manufactured housing? We have a new program for workforce housing on a permanent foundation that we would like to begin a pilot program in the town of Blackstone.
All right,
And I showed them your neighborhood.
Thank
And the
you.
exact piece of property. And what I'd like to do is go to the planning commission and see if we can have, not change the R2 zoning, because I don't think the folks on 8th Street are gonna be crazy about it. But I think it's a housing stock that, and if you look at the number of vacant lots we have in town, I think we would be blessed to get
We're not replenishing that which we're tearing down.
what we see. But I think 25 years ago, there was a lot of stink about mobile homes and trailers. Robert probably remembers that. There was a lot of back and forth. I would like to work with Virginia Housing Development Authority, who are in my office today, talking about a revitalization district for any additional projects that would be in Mr. Miller's neighborhood of the East End. And they have a new program whereby they want to finance double wide for folks through VHDA.
I checked the prices of a modular, two-bedroom modular, $100,000
right.
plus. Okay, I can get a three-bedroom, two-bath mobile home for like $40,000.
Wow.
I can pay cash for that.
Wow.
There's a difference in the building construction versus siding versus other types of siding, sheetrock versus paneling.
Right,
that
Mr.
type.
Van Orbeck has the floor.
At the end of the day, we gotta find a mechanism to make it happen.
Okay, it's going, I
We're not
believe in
opposed
God,
to
it's
it.
gonna happen. I believe in God, it's gonna
Yeah,
happen for
I'm
my
not fighting
baby.
But we either need to rezone it or see if we can get VHDA and make that neighborhood perhaps, because we've torn down a lot of housing in that neighborhood. Let's try to fill in some of those empty
Thank
lots.
you,
I'm
thank
not-
you.
How about
I'm not
that?
fighting it.
Thank you, I appreciate it,
That's
thank you.
pretty good there,
And
Ms.
like I
Townsend.
said, I believe in God, it's gonna be okay.
Always is.
Thanks.
I thought I saw one more hand. We need to, I see Mr. Jacob Allman and then Mr. Mary Ann Silverman.
Hi, how are y'all?
Good, how's it going?
Pretty good. I just got a couple of questions. I'll keep it brief. I believe it was back in May, there was a vote for a business plan for the Armory project. We talked about having this business plan, so when we had the voting day, if the voting day happens, we know what we were voting on. We know where the money's going. So that way, if you do have to dip into taxpayers' funds, we know what we're getting, so I like to know where my money's going before it's spent.
We had an RFP on the business plan.
We signed a
Due
contract,
next week.
and it should be to us before Labor Day. The target date is have it done by Labor Day.
All right. And just to speak on the voting day a bit, since it's a little controversial, I think it's a great idea. I think that that's the only way you're really going to know what the community wants. At the end of the day, it's not your money. It's, well, for you that live in town, it is your money. But, it's ultimately the citizens of Blackstone. And if I were y'all, I'd be all for the voting day, because if it doesn't turn out, if you vote against what the community wants, that could be your seat at the end of the day. If you have a voting day, you know exactly what everybody wants.
Those who voted, you do.
And just in case you didn't know, we all live in town.
We kind of have
Same
to.
taxes everybody.
Yeah,
else
I
does.
know. I'm sorry. I worded that wrong. But that's really all I have to say.
Very good, thank you. And just for a point of reference, what Mr. Allman said, this community did on 2 prior occasions, I looked it up, I was blown away on the issue of dog confinement. It was an advisory referendum, and I couldn't believe this. It wasn't done through the polls through Nottaway. It was done on one single day in the council chambers. The town oversaw its own election, and that's how dogs got confined in 1977. I always assumed it was done like in conjunction with an election. The town council at the time did that. The margin was 4-1 in favor of confinement. That's why dogs aren't running, or not supposed to run at large in Blackstone. The other time was 1953 on fluoridation in the water. And that was a 5-1 margin against fluoride. That's why there's no fluoride in your water in Blackstone, but there probably is in this. But good points, Mr. Allman. I will say, before I recognize Kathy Wooten, this council is going to get that business plan. I personally believe we may have wasted money, because I don't think you're going to make money off the Armory anyway, but maybe I'll be proven wrong. I hope I am.
Just a no.
Right, sure, what information been heard, correct. Kathy Wooten.
Kathy Wooten, here I am again. I'm Kathy Wooten. I do live out in the county, but I am a property owner in the town of Blackstone, and I'm also a vice chair and the treasurer of the Armory Group. About the referendum, I would like to see the question, how the questions were formed for the dog confinement and for the fluoridation.
Okay.
I mean, the city of Richmond, who I would seldom hold up as an example for anything, but they've been batting around this discussion about the Coliseum, which is crumbling, and it's, I guess they're not even using it, it's unsafe now. But they wanted a referendum, and they decided not to because they didn't have a set site for the building, they didn't have plans for the building, and they had no idea how much it was going to cost. And I understand your desire for the people for the citizens of the town to make a statement one way or the other, but they don't have a choice. Maybe after we've gotten this business plan and we've got policy on the use of the building, maybe that you can give people a choice, yay or nay, but right now I think it's a little too premature. And having said that, I have, in case anybody hasn't seen them, I have a certificate of liability insurance that the 501c3 entity has taken out for our event on Wednesday with per occurrence of $2,000 aggregate $2 million aggregate $4 million, which is more than was asked for. So if anybody needs a copy of that.
Do we want, I think we want a copy of that, don't we, to comply with VML?
Mr. Osborne brought me 2 copies today.
Okay, we got plenty.
And addressing the fire marshal's visit, we have taken care of the things that we were able to quickly. They repaired the doors, and there's one about the old officers club upstairs on the 2nd floor in the back of the building. They're going to do that this weekend. Everything else we took care of. Walter Mack says we move mountains, but we don't do electrical. So if
Would you like to address that tonight or wait till Wednesday? And they can have to show you what needs to be done?
we can walk around and show you.
Yeah, let's get to Wednesday.
Yeah.
But the drain downstairs, I'll make a motion that we do fix the drain that's outside that door.
Thank you.
Because it was threatening our Christmas
General
decorations.
maintenance.
It's just to stop that drain that's backing water up into the basement where your Christmas decorations are stored.
There's very nice Christmas decorations.
Very nice, very nice.
Mr. Nash has moved. Is there a second to Mr. Nash's motion?
Second.
I'll give the second to Ms. Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Anyone else? Last call. I see Mary Ann Silverman, and we're going to wrap it up because we're going to have a big Armory Fest in less than 48 hours. And then we're going to have an Armory Fest 1 week from that night. The clerk's looking at me like I'm crazy.
First of all, I would like to applaud Janet, Kathy, and William for their comments, and I agree with them 100%. And I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak. I have found that writing remarks in advance saves a lot of time and prevents me from saying things that I later regret. So please bear with me. I've been a part of the Harris Memorial Armory Center Incorporated Group since its infancy. Have spent literally many hundreds of hours personally working with the group to raise funds and support for the restoration of the building. Just within the past month, a few of those things include hauling trash, painting, washing walls numerous times, and scrubbing floors and toilets on my hands and knees in sweltering heat. Members of the group have sacrificed their time, family commitments, finances, and sometimes health to help preserve this historic building and shine it to be the jewel that it is. There's much work still to be done, but we need more help. In December 2014, Council passed a resolution of support for the Armory Group, committing support of the Armory. And like Janet, I have copies available if you need them. Support in that resolution included soliciting funds, including the Tobacco Commission, USDA, State Department of Housing and Community Development, private charitable organizations, and others. Included in the resolution, town manager and director of community development are to work closely with the group to see that various armory repairs are undertaken in a timely manner to protect and secure the building and facilities and facilitate its timely renovation. And further, Blackstone Town Council formally declares that renovation of the town-owned Harris Memorial Armory for community use is now among its highest and most urgent priorities. I confirmed with the mayor last week that this resolution has not been rescinded. So, what happened? Why are we even having to discuss this? At Wednesday's council meeting, representatives from the Civil Air Patrol confirmed that there is no venue within reasonable distance of town that will accommodate 500 people. This building will, and with further work, can accommodate approximately 700. During my lifetime, I've worked on a number of projects for various organizations, but never have I felt so unappreciated and even berated by those we were trying to help. Not all, but many of those in the governing body of the town of Blackstone. I am truly embarrassed and disappointed in the way the Civil Air Patrol was treated and the way the Harris Memorial Center group has been treated. My father-in-law, Ed Silverman, worked countless hours for many, many years to help promote this town. And I know he is looking down with shame and disgust at many of the happenings within the past few years. He started the Arts and Crafts Festival 50 years ago. The Armory is an excellent asset to be used for part of that. There are questions about it being used this year. Will every vendor or participant be required to have liability insurance? It would seem they might. How many would do it? And I'm sorry, that's my phone telling me it's time for me to take a pill. The Harris Memorial Armory Building is an icon in town. Built in 1936, it served and housed many of our soldiers during the war. And without it and those soldiers, we, each one of you and I, may not even be here today to discuss this. The town needs a space that can be used by the community for many different activities. Can't we all get along and preserve a building that is so precious to so many and can be used by the entire community?
Thank you, Ms. Silverman. Thank you so much. Folks, this has been a good meeting. No one on this council believed we'd be ready to adjourn at 9 o'clock, but if I hear no other discussion, I'm going to not adjourn, continue this meeting to 7 o'clock this coming Wednesday, it's the day after next, at the Harris Memorial Armory, and then 1 week after that night, on Wednesday the 28th, this council will meet here at 7 o'clock in a special meeting to chart the course of the Armory.
If you want to eat, though, be there at 6.
Yeah, there's a free picnic at 6 o'clock. Meeting is continued at 9 o'clock.